Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Untethered Minds, episode 16.
16, yeah.
16.
Yeah, 16.
We never know what number we're on.
I know. Well, it's really just the last one.
Yeah.
The last one was confusing. That was throwing kind of this whole thing out.
That's true.
Yeah. So we're kind of pulling an audible on y'all right now.
Yeah.
We were going to do our 3-part series, 2030. But given the events with what's going on in Israel right now, we kind of figured we needed to do an impromptu episode on the subject. And man, it is controversial. It is a controversial topic.
Yeah. We wanted to do this a couple nights ago, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Our first thought was like, we're just going to do it tonight. And I don't know, for a while it felt like a good idea. And then I'm like, let's take some time, kind of get our arms around it a bit more. And I'm very glad we did that because I've learned so much in the past 2 days. So yeah, it feels weird to be like jokey or funny right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're recording this.
Given the events.
Yeah. And we just had so much backlash, and like we'll get into everything as we go here. But it felt wrong to not record an episode about this. And we've been on such a mission to bring facts and to talk about what's actually happening to make your guys' lives easier to make decisions, I guess.
Right.
So this is, I think, something very important that more people need to know about, because I didn't know everything that we're about to discuss. So, yeah, it's important because it directly aligns with where the world's going. And we're currently a part of the world. So we have to understand what's happening and what's going on, or I don't even know anymore.
Right.
It's been a dark few days.
Well, and it's kind of difficult to stay on top of everything because there is always something new being thrown at you. Like, it wasn't that long ago that we're sitting here and everyone's talking about Maui, and now everyone's talking about Israel.
Yeah.
You know, and Maui's still a topic. Like, that's the thing. It still hasn't gone away.
Well, it's the news cycle. It's like
the kids are still missing, you know? And so now it's the whole bait and switch that they always do. It's, here's this new shiny thing in front of you. Don't look at this other thing. You guys are asking too many questions about that. Hey, look what's going on over here. And we're not saying that the events in Israel didn't happen at all. We're not saying that. But the news is capitalizing on the situation by taking the attention away from Maui, attention away from the missing kids and all that stuff, with all the stuff that's going on in Israel right now. Right.
Well, it takes the pressure off of everything that's not Israel.
Right.
Our economy, everything. So I wanted to go through the history of the Israel and Palestine conflict.
That's like centuries.
Yeah. So we're going to go back as far to 1937. I'll be completely honest. I knew none of this information before I started actively researching it, but I think that is pretty normal. So I saw a lot of videos, saw a lot of articles, but I think that this certain tweet, it was just a timeline of everything that's happened from Greg_Price11, summed everything up perfectly so that you'll have a full understanding of like the last 100 years, this conflict between Palestine and Israel. In 1937, the Arabs reject the Peel Commission to create a Jewish and Arab state. So basically, Arabs and the Jews are fighting over, Israel as a space.
Correct.
And I think it was the first time, basically, the Arabs were given 80% of the territory and the Jews were given 20%.
Correct.
The Jews said, okay, we'll take the 20. We have to live separately. It doesn't work us being together. So they accepted, and the Arabs said no. 10 years later, 1947, Arabs rejected the UN's partition plan to create a Jewish and Arab state. They waged war against the new nation of Israel, and they lost more land than the partition gave them. So that was the second time they decided to reject the two-state rule. In 1967, 20 years after that, Israel wins yet another war against its Arab neighbors, conquering Gaza, the West Bank, and Sinai in a defensive war. The Arab League declares the 3 no's: no peace with Israel, no recognition of Israel, no negotiations with Israel.
Yeah.
Israel voluntarily hands control of the Temple Mount, the holiest site in Judaism, back to the Islamic Waqf and made it illegal for Jews to pray there. 1979, 12 years later, Israel voluntarily hands the Sinai back to Egypt, returning land conquered in a defensive war. In 1993, Israel recognizes the sovereignty of the Palestinian Authority over the West Bank and Gaza Strip in the Oslo Accords. Yasser Arafat uses it to support terrorism. In 2000, Israel offers Yasser Arafat recognition of a Palestinian state in all of Gaza and 94% of the West Bank, with East Jerusalem as its capital. Arafat rejects it and launches the Second Intifada. 2005, 5 years later, Israel pulls out of the Gaza Strip, dismantles all its settlements, and forces Jews to leave their homes. Palestinians respond by electing Hamas, who turn it into a terror state. In 2008, Israel offers Mahmoud Abbas, once again, recognition of a Palestinian state in all of Gaza and 94% of the West Bank with East Jerusalem as its capital, and even offered to dismantle all their settlements, and once again, the Palestinians reject it. 2010 to 2021, Hamas launches periodic rocket attacks against the state of Israel and builds terror tunnels in order to kidnap and murder Jews while using the people of Gaza as human shields against the IDF. Finally, 2023, just this last week, Hamas commits the worst act of mass murder against Jews since the Holocaust. I mean, it's a big deal.
Right.
A big, big deal.
Right.
And I guess the first thing that we should say on this is that regardless of the politics involved, regardless of who's good, who's bad, whose side you're on, whatever, the fact is that so many innocent people are being tortured and murdered and just disgusting things happening on both sides. And when you're looking at it as a Christian, that's just pure evil and horrible and disgusting. And we don't stand for any of it. Right. There's no reason innocent people should be dying. Right.
Well, like you and I have talked and stuff before, there's innocent civilians in every single country in the world, right? And their government could be bad, their government could be evil, but that doesn't mean they are,
Exactly.
Like we've talked, I mean, most of the world views us as the bullies of the world, right? I mean, we're the big kid on the playground going around kicking over sand castles and doing all this other stuff and taking lunch money because we can, because we're the military power of the world. Right. And so a lot of people view us as the terrorists. And so a lot of people want death to America. Right. And that's including all of us. That's not just our soldiers. That's not just our politicians. That's every single citizen. Right. And so, and I understand it because there's been places where we've gone and we've just absolutely destroyed villages for the hell of destroying a village. Yeah. So I get it. I get the hate and everything like
Obama.
that. But the killing of innocent life is never okay, regardless of the situation. No. It just isn't. The killing of children is not okay. The heinous things that they were saying that they were doing to women in the streets and everything. It's never justified. There's no reason, regardless of what these people supposedly have done to you, for you to do that. And that's not even the case. It's just what all of these Muslims and what all of these Muslim sympathizers have been told or have been brainwashed into believing. They have been indoctrinated to hate Jews forever. Yep. Like forever. This is why Israel has been in multiple defense wars. They're not attacking anyone. They defend themselves.
They have to.
Right. And so, but I do kind of have a point to say on that too. Israel has one of the best defense systems in the world.
Really?
They do. They're up there with us, but that's because of us. Because we fund them, we support them, we do all these things. Israel is our number one ally that we've always gone to and protected and everything else. And so they have a defense system that's better than ours. like way better. It's very difficult for me to wrap my head around this part, and I haven't discussed this with you yet because I want to get your honest reaction.
Okay. Okay.
How did the Israeli government not know about this attack beforehand with all of their intelligence agencies? I mean, you got to think this is just a bunch of radical terrorists
Right.
working with Iran who did
Right,
do
right,
a
right.
cyber attack.
Right.
But Iran isn't up to speed like Israel is.
I know.
Jordan isn't up to speed like Israel is. Egypt isn't up to
Right.
speed like Israel is. None of those Arab countries around there are up
Okay.
to speed like Israel is.
So I have a thought on that.
Okay.
I have a thought on that. That we can jump to now.
Okay.
Because why not? It's not Iran. It's China.
No, that works too. Yeah.
So I saw somebody talking about the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, is planning a war against the U.S., which, come on, we all
Right.
know this to be true. The Chinese leaders plan to pull the U.S. into 4 different wars, and at least one of them needs to be a terrorist organization. In June of 2023, Xi Jinping met personally with the Palestinian president and announced a China-Palestine strategic partnership, which he said, quote, will be an important milestone in the history of bilateral relations, end quote. So what do you want to bet China was helping?
Well, I know China's
Palestine.
helping. I know that for a fact. So now we're going on kind of a different route on the same topic. So the point that I was bringing up is I feel like maybe some intelligence in Israel let this happen for whatever reason. You know, I haven't really dove deep into it, but how could they not have seen certain things, and how could they have not reacted faster? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why did so many Israelis die? Why did so many of them die before? I saw a study, someone was saying that people are calling this the 9/11 of Israel, right? It's way worse than that. So we lost basically 3,000 people on 9/11,
Yeah.
and they lost 1,000 people in Israel. Well, per population, per capita, that equates to about 35,000 people we would have lost on 9/11.
Wow.
That's what I mean. How did so many lose their lives before Israel counterattacked?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, my thought would be that they had worse help in China.
I don't know.
I know.
I don't know. I don't know. Because you allow your country to be attacked in order to do certain things,
Right.
in order to enact certain laws, in order to sign different agreements to go to war, you know, those types of things. So as far as the China aspect of it, this is 100% Russia and China working together to bankrupt the U.S. even more than we're already bankrupt, right? Because they know we love war. We love war, right? Because we're the police of the world. We have to go around with BDE everywhere, right? Like, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to swing it around, you know, make sure everyone gets hit by it. And, you know, and because of that, we have overextended ourselves. We are pumping all this money into Ukraine still. And that's the thing too. Did you see the last time that Zelensky and his wife were here? They went to, what was it?
Cartier
And bought $1.1 million worth of jewelry.
It's like the highest end jewelry you can buy.
$1.1 million of our money on jewelry, on 2 pairs of earrings, a necklace, and a bracelet. Yeah.
I'm shaking my head.
Our money.
You guys can't see.
Our money.
Yeah.
Yeah. While Biden's still on his 150 millionth vacation.
And then
And then he takes 2 days off away from the press to do a speech, and then he doesn't take any questions after the speech.
And when he does come out.
And then he goes and talks about Swiftie tickets, junk fees and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, he talks about junk fees while buying concert tickets. Again, with this whole thing going on with Israel.
Oh, my.
And he mumbled halfway through it anyway. Yeah, it's all
don't have
intentional.
words
It's
anymore.
intentional. It is
Okay.
intentional.
So then let's get into this, because it was just about a month before all this happened that Joe Biden unfroze, what's the word for it? Freed up like $6 billion.
He unfroze $6 billion in
Iran.
assets. Yeah.
How does that happen? Do you have any idea what that fully means?
So we had a hold on them because they broke basically certain agreements that we had. That's typically what it is. If we tell a certain country, hey, stop doing that, or else we're going to do this and this, we can freeze assets that they're getting from us, through deals and stuff. And we do a lot of deals with Iran for oil, right? So and that's also because of Biden, because he closed down the Keystone Pipeline. We were so self-sufficient on oil with the Keystone Pipeline. We became the world's largest self-sufficient country on our own oil, aside from Russia, obviously, because Russia is just massive.
Yeah.
But we became self-sufficient. We didn't need anyone's oil anymore. And now he closed that down. So then we're getting all of our oil from Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, all these other places.
All these countries that hate us.
Absolutely despise us.
Hate us.
Right. And he's also gone through majority of our oil reserves.
And now we're pretty much in direct conflict with Iran. Yep. So where the heck is our oil going to come from?
So the smartest thing for any president or whoever's making the calls to do right now, in benefit of the United States, which none of them are going to do it, is pull the fuck back. Pull back. Pull all of our troops back from everywhere.
Yep.
Do not help anybody.
No.
And then just go into defense mode. Bring all of our troops back.
Open
and
up
get
our
ready.
pipeline.
Right? Get ready. And then if all of our troops are here just sitting and waiting, no one's going to attack us. You know what I mean? I'm not saying put everyone here. Obviously, you have to have people on bases around the world and stuff like that to keep people at bay.
But we have way more than enough.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
We need to get the hell out of Ukraine.
Leave the trans people at the other ports and bring all the hard-ass Americans home.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, too. Canada, shout out to Canada. Anyone that wants to flee from Canada that's a 2A carrying member.
Yeah. Right.
Wants to come down, escape your communist country.
Right.
Come on down. We'll gladly take you.
Well, so that's my other thing. So there's so much fear going around right now. And there's so many talks about the fact that there have been a ton of Islamic migrants coming in through the southern border since we've had it open for forever. And that there are a lot of like sleeper cells in the United States. And
there's tons.
And then we get this
cells.
call to arms for the 13th by the old Hamas leader. Like that's, I understand that's scary in some respects. But also like, I know we're weak as a country. I know we're weaker. That things are just different. But you know how many strong, armed mofos and people who are willing to stand up for this country do exist?
And
how many
of them
guns
are pissed
in this
off
country
right now because of how everything's running, and they got an itchy trigger finger, man. They're
and
ready to go.
As much as I understand people being afraid, like, no, this is what we've all kind of been waiting for.
Right.
This is do or die time.
Right.
Like, there are so many strong people in this country who are armed and ready to go.
Yeah.
And so I'm not afraid. Itching. Like, I'm not afraid.
Finger is itching.
I'm not afraid.
Yeah.
Try it.
We'll be okay.
Try it.
We'll be okay.
And I saw
the only thing that will throw us off if they send those robot dogs at us.
Oh yeah, that's
from DARPA.
Robots were off the table. But I saw a meme or whatever you guys call it, of like people falling out of the sky with parachutes, like soldiers basically, and it's like, this is why we keep 2A. Right here.
Right.
This is when you need an AR. This is when you need, you know, like out of the sky.
But that's what I mean, and that's what I've been saying is that kind of attack will never happen on U.S. soil. There are way too many guns in the hands of citizens.
Yeah.
Before any foreign adversary will ever send troops onto our soil, they're going to EMP us. They're going to bomb us. They're going to do so many different things that are just going to wipe us out. And then when they do send troops, it's just to kill the stragglers.
Right.
The survivors.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
So at least when we go, it'll be a painless death.
We can all hope for the best, right? If that's the best possible
Right.
outcome, like,
If it's
Jesus
a nuke,
Christ.
yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'll hide behind Twinkies.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, you can be canceled on social media, you can be unfollowed, you can be hated, but at the end of the day, like, when this stuff, if it comes to fruition, if this stuff really happens, none of that matters. Your reputation doesn't mean anything. All that matters is that you're prepared to protect yourself.
Right.
And if you have been sitting behind your computer your entire life just talking mad crap to everyone online about how much guns suck and how much you don't know who you are and you hurt and you think you're a girl but you're a boy and blah 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 blah, I guess you're toast.
Yeah.
You're freaking toast, man. Like, look
So
how
much
far it
of
got
this
you.
country is screwed.
Yes.
If we ever have to go to war with anything.
Yeah.
Like, no, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, they won't last 2 seconds.
No.
They just won't.
No.
I mean, there's too many people that have existential crises just because, a nail broke. Like, it's absolutely insane. I mean,
They
it
can't
really
handle
is. And
anything.
that's a guy. Like,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So, like that's the thing. They have created a whole generation of victimhood mentality.
Absolutely.
And because of that, everyone has severe anxiety and they don't know how to deal with their issues. And rather than trying to solve their problems and rather than trying to become better for who they are, they're just wearing it as a badge of honor and saying, look how messed up I am, da 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 da.
Right.
Why are we glorifying mental health disorders? Like, and they keep changing the book so things aren't mental disorders anymore.
I know. It's just normal now.
Yeah, it's a crazy world. Second coming is happening soon.
Yeah, so I was also talking about
It's end
this.
times for sure.
I was talking about that.
Get right with God.
We're literally
Get right.
seeing, like, the Bible.
Yeah, Revelation, man. There's
Act it out.
so many things in Revelation that are happening right now. It's absolutely insane. And like, there's so many things that are coming true.
Yeah.
It's it's a trip.
Well, and going back to, like, the relativity of the Bible and how close we are to, like, everything that happened in that book.
Mm-hmm.
I just personally feel like, and I've heard most people say this, like, Israel is the motherland for the Jews.
God's
That's
chosen people.
That's their holy land.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care who else
Jerusalem.
thinks it's their land. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
And they've tried to concede so many times. They were willing to give up like 80% of that land.
Right. 80%.
Multiple times. They were willing to give up so much just to have some part of that land because that is their everything,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and they didn't even have a land to call their own until 100 years ago or so. Like, they had nothing. I think it was like around World War I that Jerusalem or Israel finally became a state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah. Yeah, most Jews were living in Europe, Russia, places like that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some were in America, but most were in Europe and Russia.
Yeah. It's all awful. And, like, we don't promote violence on either side. The thing is that, like, there are evils on both sides.
Right.
Those evil people need to be
There's
killing
always
each
evil.
other.
Yeah.
Not going after innocent people.
Right. There's evil people in every group, and there's innocent people in every group.
Right. And it's the weakest thing to do to go after the weak people.
Right.
In order to hurt
Right.
your opponent. But that's what they do every time. So, like, we don't promote any of this on either side. Like, peace is the ultimate goal. That is also the goal for Israel. Israel wants peace. They are working with Saudi Arabia actively to become a peaceful state.
Mm-hmm.
Hamas doesn't want that.
No.
They
want to eradicate all Jews.
Yes, and they love the terror. They love the power. Yeah. If there's peace in the Middle East, I mean, not just for Palestine, but everybody, like our government, they would hate that. They don't want peace.
Yeah. Well, their whole thing is the Zionist Jews, right? Because the Zionist Jews were the ones that basically wanted to create Jerusalem or Israel as a state, right? Their home state. Because Zion, that's the whole thing, right? Homeland in a sense. But there are evil Zionists, and it's the Rockefellers, it's the Rothschilds, it's those evil banker families.
Schwab.
And it just happens to be that they're Zionists.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They're
Yep.
evil people who just happen to be that.
Yes.
But all of Islam views all Jews as Zionists.
Yep. So it doesn't matter. They'll kill all of them.
They'll kill them all. They want to kill the entire bloodline. They want
Right.
to take them all out.
Yeah. So there's been conflict forever, and I can't, like, I don't know what the total number of lives lost on both sides are, but it's significant, and it's just sad. Innocence is innocence is innocence, as evil is evil is evil. Like,
Right.
it just, I think that's the worst part of it, is like, it's good versus evil, period. And like, at the end of the day, like, God is the last word.
Right.
And, you know, we know what'll happen at that point, but it's just upsetting to have to watch it in real time. And I think the thing that really makes me mad is that, like, there are headlines coming out because bad things are happening. And one of the big stories yesterday was that Israeli soldiers found the bodies of 40 dead babies, a bunch of which had been beheaded, like, really, really terrible stuff. And we all know that there's propaganda in the media, no matter where you're hearing it from. There's propaganda. They're going to want you to get behind the war. They're going to want you to be in defense of these innocent lives that are being lost. But I just was so disheartened by all of the just, I can't even say the word, like, crap talking going on about this stuff about, oh, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. Like, I posted about it on our TikTok, and the amount of people being like, fake news, how dare you look at that. It was confirmed.
Right.
It was confirmed by a lot of independent media, a ton. And
but most of the people that were saying that it was fake were Muslim.
yes. And they're like, we don't do that there. And I'm like, have you ever? I've seen beheading videos.
I've seen tons of beheading videos.
Yes, they're out there. If you don't think that Muslims will do this kind of thing, you are living in fantasy land.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's not racist. That's not me being a xenophobe.
Right.
It's none of that. It's the freaking truth.
Well, and that's the thing too. That's why our government blamed 9/11 on Muslim terrorists.
Yeah.
Because it's believable, because these are things that they do.
Exactly. They hate America.
Right.
They hate America. So much so to the old Hamas leader came out and said October 13th, which, by the way, y'all, Friday the 13th.
That's tomorrow for us. It's the 12th right now.
He said, everybody, this is our day of, like, revenge. We need to, what was he calling it?
Jihad.
Yes,
It's
that.
jihad, where basically they kill anyone that's Jewish or a Westerner. Yeah.
Promoting it.
Yeah.
And then New York has now put all of their cops on duty.
Yeah.
So they're
Because
taking
there's
steps.
tons of Palestinians in New York.
So many.
Yeah.
There's tons in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Tons in Texas.
Yeah.
You know how I know
Yeah.
this.
Sleeper cell.
Texas, like crazy.
Yeah,
Dallas,
it's sleeper cells.
you would not believe the Middle Easterns in Dallas, you guys. And New Jersey, rampant. Rampant.
Yeah.
Northern California, there's a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, we're being invaded.
We're literally being invaded.
We are being invaded.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
you've always talked about how it's like mass production is one of their techniques, is like,
Right.
there's a reason they have so many kids.
Mass producing. Yeah.
Mass production, that sounds like a
Yeah.
utility
like
line.
an assembly line.
Henry Ford over here.
Yeah, they want to impregnate as many women as possible.
And
they
have
want
as
to
many
have as many
kids.
kids as they possibly can.
Take over the population.
Because they want to overpopulate the planet with Muslim children.
Yep.
Yeah, that is their goal for world domination, right? So you do have two different viewpoints on it as far as Islam. You have the Sunnis and you have the Shias, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly at war with each other for supremacy of Islam. Until there's an outside threat, then they join forces, they take the outside threat out, and then they go back to war with each other. Right. So our politics are a lot like Islam.
Yeah.
You got the Republicans and Democrats are always at war with each other.
Yeah.
Then you got Trump that comes along, the outsider, and they both join forces and take out Trump. It's a tactic that seems to be used around the world.
Certainly is.
But there's tons of videos of Muslim men in mostly like England and other European countries, but mostly England, on video talking about their plan of world domination. they are going to not do it with guns and missiles and everything else. They're going to do it through population.
Yeah.
That is their whole goal. And you either convert
or you die.
Yep. That's it.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. One of the craziest things I ever saw too was there was this stupid teenage girl that was protesting, right? And she was holding a sign that says women's rights now while wearing a shirt that says I stand with Islam. Women have no rights in Islam.
No.
They are property.
No. I
think it was just a few years back that some of the countries, women got the right to drive, and it's like just to drive their husband around. Like because they have to be accompanied by a man at all times. That's what I mean. And these are the same people saying, take away guns. Oh.
And then there's the groups of kids out in the streets holding Queers for Palestine signs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys have any idea who you're supporting?
Right.
Everyone in Palestine would rather you be dead.
Yeah. Either throw you off a building or behead you. Yeah.
They don't do queer.
No.
There's no infinite genders.
No.
It's a man and a woman, and the woman doesn't have a say in anything.
Right.
And you are a puppet for your husband.
Right.
Who is usually arranged for you by your parents.
Right. Because he bought you.
And you're lucky if you ever leave your parents' house.
And you're one of like 4 or 5 wives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't say, there's no rights to women.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it's shocking, but like every day something happens that I'm just like,
well,
people are idiots.
The Prophet Muhammad. Oh, we're going to get a lot of hate for this one.
Okay.
The Prophet Muhammad.
Buckle up.
No, you cannot talk about the Prophet Muhammad in a negative light. Like, it is blasphemous, and they will like
Muslims.
Right, to Muslims.
Okay.
Dude was a pedophile.
Okay. Okay.
Dude was a pedophile.
News to me. Okay.
One of his wives was, I think, 10 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I think it was like his 3rd wife, I think.
Ugh.
But yeah, he took her at 10 years old. And they'll argue, well, back in that day, that was a woman, blah, 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 blah. Don't care.
You don't bleed at that age. You're not a woman.
Well, some do. But anyway. But at 10 years old, how are you attracted to a child? Unless you're a pedophile. He beat his wives. Mm-hmm. The Prophet Muhammad was a horrible human being. And this is who every single person that practices Islam models their life after. A pedophile, a womanizer who had multiple wives, a woman beater. Mm-hmm. The guy was blasphemous. And here's the thing, too. You want to talk about other religions real quick. Every single religion around the world gives Jesus credit for being a prophet. Mm-hmm. Jesus only gave himself credit. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying. Yeah. Even Muhammad gave Jesus credit. Yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, he's a prophet, but yeah, me too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I knew. Interesting.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If you actually study the Quran, if you actually study Sharia law, if you actually study the two sides with the Sunnis and the Shias and Muhammad, you'll understand that they're just pure evil. Yeah. They're pure evil. Yeah. They are an evil ideology. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, our rights really don't matter. Like, at the end of the day, like, death. Right. None of that stuff matters. It really is all this much higher power, this bigger game of good versus evil. Right. And you have to believe that these people are not going to end up in a good place.
No, not at all.
Mm-mm. They're living in purgatory or they're going to go somewhere down below. Yeah. But there's no happy ending for them. Like, I think that's what I have to keep reminding myself.
100 virgins waiting for them.
Yeah. Nope. No. I just keep reminding myself whenever like these things start to get really scary, and like every day is scary, you guys. They're like, ooh, spooky season. No, every day is scary. Yeah. It's always spooky season now. Yeah. Like the thing
if you pay attention.
Yeah, really though. Yeah. I just keep telling myself, I'm like, this is all a test. This is all a test. This is all a test. Like this is just our bodily life. Right. And it's just a vessel. It's a vessel, and I can't worry. Mm-hmm. I can't. It's all faith over fear at this time, as much as possible. Right. Because this is something else that people are talking about in terms of like theories of everything that's going on, is that you can't play into the media. You can't be listening to these headlines. They're just trying to push us into World War III. They're trying to push us into World War III. And it's like, okay.
Everything is building towards World War
Everything. III. Absolutely.
And now
everything.
Israel gives the other side of the aisle a reason to go to war with Russia and China.
Right.
Because Iran is partners with Russia and China.
Yeah. So it's like, I understand that. And they're like, don't get too upset because it's all, it's all just trying to get them to get us to be okay with war. And I'm like, okay, if we're going to go to war, we're going to go to war. Right. They decide that for us. Well, we don't decide.
They're waiting until 24.
Yeah.
So we don't have a 24 election.
Right. And that's what I was going to say next is like, that could be what's coming. And so ultimately, like, that's all terrifying. But I'm like, God, this is all in your hands. I don't, you don't know why we have to witness the things we do, but ultimately it is all a test.
Right.
And so like your reaction to these things is important.
Right.
And I just think that there are so many people who are uneducated as hell and just evil, honest. If you're sitting up there, and I just started calling people on TikTok were going after me for saying, you're lying this, you're lying that. I was just like, stop supporting terrorism.
Right.
Stop supporting terrorism.
Right.
Stop supporting terrorism. Like, I hope God forgives you for, how callous you are.
Well, so that's how desensitized the world is now, though.
Yeah.
Like, we've all been conditioned, even here in the United States, where we don't have to see that kind of bloodshed on a daily basis like most of the world does, right? But we've become so desensitized to it. I mean, look, you see someone getting their ass kicked in the streets by a bunch of other people. Instead of helping, people just pull out their phones.
Did you see that one school fight where the transgender little boy pulled the girl's hair, pulled her down on the ground, and all the kids were just filming?
Yeah.
Nobody jumps in and helps out. Nothing. Just filming. Yeah. All this makes me sick.
Oh, let it happen. Let it happen to
our
daughter.
No.
Let's just say I'll be knocking on some doors.
Yeah, right. I think the scariest thing about all of this, in my opinion, is the thought that it will get us into a World War conflict, whether that's actually World War III or like what happens from here, we'll see.
Yeah.
But if that does eventually threaten this next election in 2024, because like we've talked about, I don't think that they can cheat again and get away with it and not have civil war on their hands.
Right.
And so the next best thing.
I think that's part of the plan too, though.
Yeah.
To have a
if World War doesn't happen, the Civil War is fine too. Anything to keep Trump out of office.
Well, so there's tons of powers at play right now.
Yeah.
There's so many different angles.
Honestly, though, there's a lot of players on the board.
There's so many different angles going on right now. So you have whoever the hell you want to call them, Illuminati, the elites, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
The world bankers that run everything.
Right.
They're purposely destroying America to build their smart cities and all their crap that they want to do by 2030 and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then you have Russia and China and all of their little crony allies that want to eradicate Western civilization.
Yep.
So basically the bankers and everyone else, which I'm not against.
I know. But we're included in that.
But we're included in that
so
package.
That's a problem.
Right. So there's so many different powers at play, and they all involve destroying America.
Yep.
Even the people that are running the country.
Yep.
Like, it all involves destroying this country, because if we fall, the rest of the world crumbles. I mean, it truly is, because we've been the superpower since World War II. No one has messed with us because we have built up our artillery, and so we have more military power than most of the world. Now, Russia and China have been building that up, and so they're right there with us, especially Russia. They have the same amount of nukes as us, roughly.
And while we're getting weaker.
And we're way weaker. Our power grid is outdated as hell.
Yep.
And now that we have blackouts in places like California because they're forcing everyone to get electric vehicles because the power grid can't sustain that much power being pulled from it. And so that's intentional, which is now why they're pushing that whole thing that, you only need one car per household.
Yep.
Not everybody needs a car.
Yeah.
You only need to drive it 12 hours a week.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's the thing. That's the direction we're going to.
Yeah.
And so, and like I said before, they say fossil fuels just to scare you to think they're going extinct. We can get oil all day long.
Yeah.
All
We're
day
never
long.
running
you
out.
can dry up an area. You move on to the next one. You get more.
Right.
And then you go back to that place a couple years later, a few years later, and you got oil there again.
Right.
For the most part.
And how many drill spots do we have? You know what I mean? Like, we're fine. We're fine.
In the ocean. And,
we're fine.
Right. So, but it's all in the grand scheme of things. There's so many different powers at play right now. So many different powers at play. And if you really think about it from that perspective, kind of the ways I just laid it out, who's to say Russia and China are the bad guys right now? I mean, China's bad. Russia's bad.
Yeah.
But are they the enemy of our enemy? Meaning, are they the lesser of two evils?
Right.
I don't know, because everything that the people that are running us right now, they're aspiring to do everything Russia and China are already doing.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? So it's like just the struggle. So it's almost like two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They're the same thing, no matter what.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
You're
Just with a different flag on it.
You're damned if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
The difference is they want us dead. The people that control us just want to control us more.
Yeah.
And dead. But but they need some of us.
There's a whole depopulation.
They need some of us to keep
side
us
of
going,
it too.
keep everything going. So there's a lot of yeah. There's a lot of stuff.
This just became an end of the world podcast.
It kind of did. It kind of did. Yeah.
You guys, no matter what, we're all kind of screwed. So gun up, arm up, get your backup ammo,
non-perishables,
start preparing.
Water.
I have been like so pushing back on all of this with Tavis. He's like, no, we got to buy this. We got to do this. We got to prepare. And I'm like, come on. No, it's fine. It's fine. Come on, let's buy home decor. And like, granted, we need some things that still bring us joy throughout all this crap. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, yeah, so we're going to sell this thing, and then we're going to put this much money aside. We're going to spend this much of it on precious metals, and then we're going to buy a gun with this much. And then like, we're steadily planning.
Another gun.
Huh?
Another gun.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So just prepare.
We need more.
I said this on our socials. Like, you are the only person who cares about you and your family. You cannot rely on the government to care about you. You can't rely on your neighbor to care about you. You can't rely on anyone.
And that's the thing. When it's mass hysteria and shit's hitting the fan, it's everyone for themselves.
Absolutely.
At that point. So you have to be prepared for your family.
Yeah.
You know, your neighbors that you might have known for 10 years, man, they will shoot you in the back if you got supplies that they need.
Everyone for themselves.
Right.
So, I don't know. People tell us, like, how do you prepare? How are we supposed to do this? We don't know. We're not experts on the topic. We're just doing what we can. But, like, we do have... I don't know how much I want people to know we have stuff.
You have to get precious metals, so gold, silver. If you can't afford gold, I mean, silver's always cheap. Yeah. You know, and silver will always hold value. You know, you get propane, get gas, get a generator if you could get one. I mean, and you can get a little one, but if you can't even get those things, just water, non-perishables, canned foods that will last for a while. Yeah. We have like solar
guns,
batteries. Ammo, right.
Backpacks, sleeping bags, all kinds of things.
One cool little thing that I have upstairs is those life straws. And so they're the filter straws. And so you can go up to any stream and drink out of it if you had to. And it'll filter all the bacteria and stuff out of it. So I haven't tried it, so I don't know how it tastes. Hey, man, when that's all you got, that's all you got. You got to drink some water.
That's good enough, yeah. So, yeah, we're not experts, but just...
Well, and kind of like I said in the last one too, I know, like, I laugh a lot, and these are all serious topics and stuff, but that's my counterbalance, you know?
You have to.
Because if you have all this knowledge of all these things that are coming, it's very easy to slip into a hysteric state and kind of obsess over it. Yeah. And so... you have to balance it out. You have to balance with everything. You have to be able to take in the information and put emotion and everything aside and think about it logically. You know, it's tough. It really is, because all of these things do nothing but drive emotion. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's tough. But so since emotion has to be involved, I'll I'll laugh it off.
Yeah.
That's my coping mechanism. Because at this point, what's worrying going to do? Just get prepared.
Right.
Do whatever you can. This is why I've slowly been building on stuff like over the years.
Well, and that's why I feel so even worse about our economy and where we're at as a country is because like, and I've seen this, a lot of people are like, I'm paycheck to paycheck. I don't have extra money to be buying ammo, to be buying guns, extra food. I mean, groceries are as expensive as they are right now. Like, then you're thinking of buying for potential bunkering down. And, like, we have gallons of water in one of our closets. Like, gallons. Yeah. But these things aren't cheap.
Right.
They aren't cheap. And I feel bad because people want to prepare and they're like, I can't.
Well, I mean, not to... sound like I'm unsympathetic or anything, but do what we're doing. Yeah. Sell stuff that you don't need. Like right now, there's still enough NPCs that are asleep out there that are completely oblivious to everything and are living their lives. Sell all your things that you think people will go for. Like I'm selling my gaming PC, VR headset, all that stuff. Probably going to sell my car since it's just been sitting in the garage for a year.
Yeah.
Like get rid of the non-essentials.
Right. Don't like sell off like your only TV in the house or like your couch.
But I mean, if you got 5 TVs in the house, 4 or 5 TVs in the house, you can do with like 2.
We're still living life. Well, we're not even saying like sell off your TVs, but like for example, we have a third car. It doesn't get driven because it just doesn't. We don't need it. I live here now.
It's been paid off and everything.
It's paid off. It's just in the garage. We should just sell it and take that money and like I said, allot it in different places that will make us feel better in the long run.
Right.
About our future. Mm-hmm. So.
And finally build a garden in the backyard.
And build a garden.
And so we can be self-sustaining.
Yeah. And see, we can still take pride in that. We can still bring joy through those kinds of things. Like we're trying to do a lot more family too, like without, I don't know, doing like, for me, I just want to be like so homegrown and like do family things where we don't have to like leave the house and go like spend a bunch of money doing, like parks and I don't know, aquariums and things. Like, yeah, those are neat and all, but like personally, our kid has been to like every single one out there. Been to
everything in the state.
Yeah, like let's just keep going and doing the same things that you always do. And like, I'd much rather have like an experience where like we bond through it, not just because we walked by an exhibit of a polar bear, but like we actually,
memories,
had a conversation while we were baking cookies or bathing our new dog, like those are important things that I know I'm trying to just focus more on now because if it all ends tomorrow, who cares about the other stuff?
Right.
So I don't know. It's really like, it's evoking a lot of faith in me in terms of like spirituality. It's a lot of trying to get back to the roots of just being like self-sufficient and happy with our own stuff. Like, I don't know. The world is just in a very crazy place and all we want to do is like move to Montana and get a bunch of land and live away from everyone and everything.
Move to Wyoming. It doesn't exist.
Wyoming.
Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist?
You ever heard that?
What? No.
It's a silly conspiracy.
People think Wyoming exists?
Yeah, Wyoming isn't a real state.
I've been there.
Yeah, it's not a real state. Well, because they're like, okay, so the whole thing with it is every place that you go to in Wyoming, everyone's wearing like Wyoming shirts and stuff like that. And like, so those are like paid actors to make it seem like people are proud of living in Wyoming. Yeah, it's silly. It's just a goofy. It's like one of those things like pigeons aren't real type,
Oh my God. I think pigeons have a lot more.
Yeah, valid.
Validity.
Validity. Yeah.
Validity. All right. That, I think, is where we're going to end things for today. Thank you for listening. This episode, we don't know how it's going to go, to be honest. We don't care if you have a different opinion. Like, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. If you want to support terrorism, be my guest. But we're
probably not do that though.
Yeah, it's in your best interest in the long run to not support evil. But we're very strong in how we believe. Come at us if you're going to. don't really care at this point in time at all about any of that. Come at us for anything. We don't care.
I like the confrontation.
He does. Trust me. He loves the confrontation. It scares me a lot. Thought we were going to ran into a Tesla in the Starbucks line not too long ago. Oh my gosh, you guys.
I
Anywho.
wasn't going to ram the car.
No.
But I got it right up on him because he was blocking the lane.
Yeah, he probably crapped his pants.
I hope he did. Maybe he could put it in his Tesla as like a fertilizer fuel. Anyway,
come at us.
Which, by the way, Elon is building an army. The cars are robots. He's building actual robots. Elon's building an army. Elon's helping the Antichrist. Okay, with actual facts. All right.
Tavis is going to live stream with all of his random thoughts.
I should, yeah.
So come at us if you want. Tavis thrives on going back and forth with people on social media, so prepare yourselves if you're about to do that. Yeah. If you get me in a feisty mode, you could get both of us responding to you at the same time. That happens a lot.
Yeah, that does happen. Yeah, you'll respond and I'll respond, and they're almost identical.
I know,
messages.
It's so weird. A quick tiny plug: we launched merch at a really bad time. Really bad time. So I'm not gonna really plug that right now, but just know that it exists on untetheredmindsmedia.com/store. I'm
not gonna really plug it and plug
just a tiny bit. And yeah, that's really all I can come up with. As always, follow us on social medias. And I think that's it. This is a very impromptu episode.
Yeah, so very off the cuff.
Very off the cuff. Yeah. We felt like we had to talk about this, so here we are, and we appreciate you being here.
And we will be back in about 2 weeks with Spencer for our first episode.
Yes, of Agenda 2030. Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll see y'all on the interwebs in the meantime, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. Have a good evening, day, night, morning,
afternoon.
Good morning, good evening, and good night.
Yes.
All right. Goodbye. Truman Show. Bye.